Hi, everybody. This is Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. It's Friday, September 19th, 2025. This update's for the All Hazards Consortium, sensitive information sharing environment where we share information across platforms from private sector liaisons to private sector organizations so we can all be on the same page looking at the same data. We do have some things going on both on the East Coast as far as the far Atlantic is concerned. Bermuda may have some threats coming up to it here over the weekend and into early next week. And we have some wildfires burning in the state of Washington. We're also going to take a look at the state of Hawaii. We have some windy conditions there, but not too bad. So let's take a look at what's going on. This is the GOES satellite imagery. I have it looping here of Tropical Storm Gabrielle. Gabrielle was looking pretty sad over the last couple of days. We didn't have updates. It really wasn't worth doing any updates here. But now that Gabrielle is getting its act together a little bit and is going to be potentially impacting, at least on the far western edge of its circulation, Bermuda on Sunday into Monday, we're going to start doing these updates. You can see where Gabrielle is located. I'll point it out right here. Here's Gabrielle. This is not the center of the storm. The center of the storm is still over here. But it is getting more thunderstorms associated with it that we've seen over the last, a lot more storms than we've seen over the last couple of days. It's really been kind of a low-level swirl, and all the conversation around, the Hurricane Center, Hurricane Research Division is this really going to hold together? Should we make this a tropical depression after we made it a tropical storm and then bring it back up to a tropical storm? But it has maintained 50-mile-per-hour winds, even though it didn't have a lot of thunderstorm activity associated with it. Thank goodness we have satellites that orbit the Earth and take surface wind measurements, and those satellites did indeed find winds close to 50 miles per hour. That's what the latest advisory says. We'll take a look at that in just a minute, but I just wanted to point out down to the southwest here. Here is Puerto Rico. Vieques and St. Thomas and St. Croix. We have not really much impact from Gabrielle on Puerto Rico and the northern Lesser Antilles, except for some wave and swell action that will be starting to reach the islands over the next couple of days, causing some rip currents. So be very careful. Only swim in beaches that are guarded. That is really important because those rip currents could be strong. I have also the sea surface temperature data put over this satellite imagery or under. The GOES satellite can monitor sea surface temperatures based on its infrared data, and it is indeed warm. We have nothing to worry about as far as cold sea surface temperatures. They're very, very warm. Well, let's widen out a little bit here and show you what it looks like. I'll go full screen here and show you Gabrielle has circulation on the outer edges here. It actually has a pretty broad wind field, mainly to the north, to the east, and perhaps the southeast, not much to the west. And you'll see that on the initial wind radii that I'll display here in a moment. But it is really unencumbered by cold sea surface temperatures. It's quite warm. Now, let's take a look at the latest statistic from the National Hurricane Center. This is as of 5 p.m., so just a few minutes ago from the National Hurricane Center in Miami. They're saying Gabrielle is starting to get better organized. We can see that now with some more convection on at least one side of the center. Not much on the left, but this is showing signs of intensifying in the future. Not really intensifying as of yet because it still has 50-mile-per-hour winds. The minimum central pressure is coming down a little bit, 1,004 millibars, and the movement to the west-northwest at 12 miles per hour. Now, this is all satellite-based. Tomorrow, we're going to have reconnaissance from the 53rd Weather Squadron that will be flying out of Homestead, Florida, to do a fix at 2 o'clock in the afternoon so we can get that data into the model runs. But right now, the center is pretty certain, but not really certain until that airplane, Hurricane Hunter, flies through it during the day tomorrow. But it is forecast. You can see in the Weather Service headline in their 5 p.m. advisory, forecast to strengthen and become a hurricane by Sunday. So we'll be watching that very closely. Here's the latest coordinates for those of you that might be plotting on a map on your computer or plotting it by hand. Maybe one of those hurricane tracking charts that are tack boards. Put a little pin in the right spot. 22.4 north, 56.6 west. That is about 510 miles northeast of the northern Leeward Islands and about 850 miles southeast of Bermuda. Hurricane Center mentions Bermuda because it will be taking a turn headed in that general direction. It looks like right now the center is forecast to move well to the east of Bermuda, but this track can change, right? I mean, we have different influences. We'll have more data once the plane starts flying into the hurricane. And as that gets updated, we want to keep track of the forecast track. Let's get a little bit closer now, and I want to talk about the enhanced satellite imagery that we can use. This is something that I've showed before. This is called the sandwich product. I'm taking an infrared data layer and overlaying it onto the visible data layer, and this is really quite phenomenal what we can see here. These colors tell us a lot of things. Those bright white clouds that you see mean very intense thunderstorms are forming around part of this tropical storm. Gabrielle, the center is somewhere up in this direction, so it's not really lined up quite yet with the center lining up with the upper level part of the storm. Once they do line up, we could see more rapid intensification or just generally intensification from the 50 mile per hour. We need to get to 74 miles per hour to make it a hurricane. And indeed, that's what the Hurricane Center thinks is going to happen by Sunday. But we can look at this infrared data and the red here, all these bubbles that looks like popcorn, right? This is very heavy thunderstorm activity, very strong winds, very heavy rain under this. This is most likely where those 50 mile per hour winds are being recorded by a satellite. And again, when the plane flies through it tomorrow, it'll be flying through this heavy convection along with trying to locate the center of Gabrielle as well. Over on the left-hand side, not much in the way of convection. We have cirrus clouds. That's what these milky clouds look like. They're fanning out, so it's indicating that Gabrielle is getting some sort of outflow perhaps on the northwestern side. It's just no surface storms. There's some that are trying to form here up towards the north. There's some storms not really too impressive yet forming on the northwestern side of the tropical storm. But needless to say, it's a pretty large circulation. I'm going to widen out here and I'll show you what it looks like from the standpoint of the southeast U.S., eastern Mexico, Cuba, and the Caribbean. And you can see how much of the ocean Gabrielle takes up. And this is what it looks like. So you can sort of see the outer edges of the circulation at the surface. These are cumulus clouds, so they're about 4, 5, 6,000 feet. And then you can see those kind of wrapping around this circulation here. And so we have a decent size wind influence. These are only probably about 15, 20 knot winds out here. We may be able to check on some of the ocean observing platforms when we go over to GeoCollaborate. But we need this core of the storm to get a little bit better organized, form an eye and all that stuff as it gets into a low hurricane threshold. At least it'll try to do that. One other thing that you notice here are a lot of clouds over the Bahamas and over here over the ocean. That's a trough of low pressure. So you can almost view this as a barrier to the East Coast. We're expecting Gabrielle to move towards the west-northwest and then curve up into the middle part of the Atlantic. Because of this trough of low pressure, it's kind of going to whisk Gabrielle away. But right at the tip of my arrow right here, that is Bermuda. So that's why we want to pay close attention. We want everybody to be prepared for tropical storm force winds, maybe even hurricane force winds as we get closer to Sunday into Monday. On the East Coast here, look at all this clear sky from Maine all the way down through New York, Pennsylvania. There's a little bit of a warm front here stretching out of this low pressure. This is a pretty aggressive and strong low pressure system that's making its way through the upper Midwest. You can see some lines of showers and storms forming. Nothing too severe right here, but we are seeing this area of clouds moving up and clear skies behind it. So there's nothing really too impressive coming out of this warm front that's sticking out over towards the mid-Atlantic states. Florida, you're getting a bit of a reprieve, right? You've been having quite a bit of rain as this trough of low pressure was moving through the state, setting up that southern part of Florida in a kind of a stationary front or a convergence zone where lots of showers and storms were moving through. But you needed it. You have a drought. Drought conditions continue there. And as we move over towards the Caribbean and the Gulf, I just want to show you what's going on. There's nothing developing right now or expected to develop over the next 7 days in the Caribbean. All you see here is cirrus blow-off from thunderstorms. Here's Puerto Rico over here, right here. Here is Haiti and the Dominican Republic and Cuba. So we have some scattered thunderstorms. You just see these clouds blowing off because they're cirrus clouds getting higher up in the atmosphere. Over towards the Western Caribbean, we have showers and storms over the Yucatan Peninsula. Nothing expected to develop there. And look at the Gulf. The Gulf is super warm, approaching its record high ocean heat content and ocean temperatures, sea surface temperatures, really up there in some of the top tier years of warmth for the Gulf. So we want to pay very close attention over the next couple of months here for anything that might develop in the Gulf, because it will have the energy, the fuel, that high test fuel to develop into a hurricane rapidly if anything develops. Of course, you need the atmosphere to have the right conditions as well. Over towards the next 10 days, the models are indicating we may want to watch something in the Western Caribbean. That's all I'm going to say about that. There's nothing indicating it right now, but perhaps in the 2.5 week time frame, we may see some development there, and we'll be keeping an eye on it. Over in the Pacific, yep, we've got a couple of systems that the Hurricane Center is watching, and I will point those out in GeoCollaborate. Speaking of which, here is GeoCollaborate, and I want to point out where the forecast is for Tropical Storm Gabrielle. Here is the center of the storm, at least satellite estimates for center and the official estimates from the Hurricane Center. They have it moving to the northwest and then the north and then the northeast as that trough of low pressure kind of whisks it away. Bermuda is indeed, and I can zoom in here, is indeed in the probability of tropical storm force winds. Bermuda is right here. So that's why they may get some form of watch, maybe a tropical storm watch in the next couple of days as Gabrielle intensifies into a hurricane. Now, when Gabrielle gets up into this vicinity, let's take a look at what the latest forecast is as of the 5 p.m. advisory number 11. This is for a 100-mile-per-hour Category 2 hurricane in 60 hours. So that is at 2 a.m. on the 22nd. So that's Monday morning, the 22nd. We could have a 100-mile-per-hour hurricane here. Let me move GeoCollaborate down here because we have another area that we're watching. There is a tropical wave that's moving off the Western Africa coastline, located right here. Let's take a look at what the percentage is from the National Hurricane Center right now. So a 0% chance of anything developing over 2 days and a 20% chance of any development over the next 7 days. So we have quite a bit of time to watch this area, and that's why the Hurricane Center puts this area out. It says, hey, we need to just keep monitoring this to see what's going on. So here we're looking at GeoCollaborate, and what we did this afternoon is we tracked 2 Hurricane Hunter aircraft flying from Lakeland, Florida, down to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and they actually have landed. They're safely at the San Juan airport, and they're going to be using San Juan as their base of operations to fly their Hurricane Hunter missions. And I'll just explain this a little bit because it's kind of cool. These yellow lines here, these are gliders. These are ocean observing systems. They're gliders going up and down in the ocean, taking lots of critical measurements of not only sea surface temperatures, but temperatures down deep, so we can see how much ocean heat content is there. These are critical observing systems deployed by Caracus, which is the Caribbean region of the Integrated Ocean Observing System. And they also have gliders that are coming down here to the south into the Caribbean. There's also one in Barbados. Look at that one. That one is all going over here. Also measuring how much fresh water is coming out of the Amazon River Basin. Yep, it does impact the Atlantic Ocean with fresh water a lot. So anyway, here's where we have the base of operations out of San Juan. And this line, this green line going out here, I can make this a little bit better visible, increase the visibility a little bit by changing the base map. So I've turned off the clouds and just kept the base map gray so you can see this a little bit easier. Here are the planes in Puerto Rico. That is the 2P3 Orion aircraft. They're going to be flying into the storm, doing hurricane research tomorrow, both Miss Piggy and Kermit. Kermit is green, and Kermit's going to be flying tomorrow in this pattern. This is the pattern it's going to fly. And why is it up here when the hurricane is down here? Well, they have to forecast where the center of the storm is going to be when they take off and then start dropping dropsondes and deploying perhaps some unmanned aerial vehicles to do some research. But this is the pattern it's going to fly, and we can see what the drop is going to be. This is going to be a dropsonde, 2 out of 6, 2 hours and 19 minutes after takeoff. So that's great that we can see this. Also, very faintly, if you can see this here, there we go. I changed the color just to make it a little bit more visible. This is the radius of maximum winds for the tropical storm force winds. And here is the center of the storm right in here. So you can see most of the tropical storm force winds are to the southeast, the east, and the northeast. Not much at all in this area, but you can see the influence of those winds, counterclockwise winds around Gabrielle. So this is where the one airplane is going to fly, Kermit. I can turn on the flight plan for Miss Piggy, which is N43. This is the flight plan for Miss Piggy. I'll turn off Kermit. So they're going to fly out of Puerto Rico and fly this pattern around the storm and through the storm and do lots of research. And then the C-130s, the aircraft from the U.S. Air Force from the 53rd Weather Squadron, are going to be flying out of Homestead, Florida, just south of Miami tomorrow. And here's just Miami, south of Miami, and they're going to fly long distance, and they're going to do a fixed measurement at 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. So they'll be going through the storm by about that time, so we can get that data into the models to improve the forecast. So a lot going on here. We're combining research and operations. And one other thing that might be pretty neat is that you see these little things, this one in the pink, this one in the orange. There's another one up here towards the track in the green. These are unmanned ocean robots. They're unmanned vehicles that are going to be going along the surface of the ocean. They're trying to get into the path of the storm so they can take measurements, but it looks like they may not make it. They certainly probably won't make it to the right-hand side of this track, which is, I think, where they want to be. But the track might shift a little bit, and that would help them out. But we can, through GeoCollaborate, we can query this data and see what the winds are, see what the pressure is, and we can monitor this and this tail is 48 hours worth of data. This is why ocean observing is so critical and why NOAA research is testing out these unmanned systems to see how they perform and can get us more information that can help hurricane forecasts. Okay, let's go over here to the Western satellite. This is the GOES West satellite, and you can see some things going on. There is lots of clear skies in the Pacific Northwest, but there's also some wildfires. I'll cover that in just a second. We also have down here our good friends in Hawaii. Aloha. It looks like another beautiful day in Hawaii. You can see some streams of clouds that'll be heading your way with east to northeasterly wind. So you'll be getting some upslope clouds there, but certainly nothing that'll disturb your beach weather. Be careful of rip currents, though. They're always there when you have a little larger swells. So on the northern facing beaches, could have some larger swells. There's also some small craft advisories around the islands and through these channels through the islands. That's where the winds typically pick up. But another beautiful day in Hawaii. Always enjoy getting out there to visit. Let's take a little bit closer look in here in the Pacific Northwest. We have some very interesting things going on. I'm going to bring the satellite imagery down here. Look at the low-level stratus clouds coming along the coastline. So you could be standing at the coast. You see that bank of clouds out there. Sometimes it comes right in. But look what you notice. Look at all this smoke. This is several wildfires that are burning, as a matter of fact. This one right here, you can see it filling the mountain valleys with smoke. This one is the Bear Gulch wildfire. This is a pretty intense one that's been burning here. It's burned over the last several days, 18,728 acres. It's been burning for about a month or so, and only 9% contained. So this fire is impacting. It's burning in the Olympic National Forest, and that is something that is expected to continue for a while because it's only 9% contained. It is impacting a roadway there in the Olympic National Forest. It's FS24, starting at milepost 10.5. The road is closed there because of this wildfire, and it's also impacting some trails and wilderness campsites, but the smoke is traveling far. You can see this. A lot of you may be waking up and smelling this and what might be going on, because you might think there's a wildfire burning in your backyard, but no, indeed, in Olympia, when you wake up right down here, you may say, hey, it's very smoky. Is there a fire close to us? No, this looks like it's that fire in the Olympic National Forest that is burning. And we have some other ones burning as well over here. You can see this. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have more of those wildfires there. That is, let's see. This one here is the Wildcat fire. This one here is the Labor Mountain fire. And these two here are the Lower Sugarloaf fire and the Pomus fire. This one is the Martin fire. So this is the Pomus fire and the Martin fire up here that are burning. So Washington State, they are on high alert right now. There's quite a few wildfires going on, and we can monitor them with this high resolution satellite data from GOES. We can even see on the fire temperature RGB channel and product from the GOES West satellite, we can see those fires burning, and they're burning very hot right now. This is the Pomus fire and the Martin fire here in Washington State. And just down below it, the Lower Sugarloaf fire, we can see that burning as well. So thanks for watching. Really appreciate your attention. Hope you learned a little bit of stuff, saw some cool things. We're helping NOAA to monitor the position of the planes and how they're doing with the observing systems, and how those observing systems correlate with ocean observing systems to make sure we have calibrated and validated systems and we put accurate data into the forecast models. So anyway, have yourself a great weekend. I hope you can enjoy your Friday evening. Aloha in Hawaii. Mahalo for watching. And we'll be back maybe Sunday afternoon or Monday with another update. Please enjoy your weekend. Watch out for yourself and also watch out for your neighbors. They really do appreciate it. Take care.